Well, hi there, I'm Noah Bradley. This is Handmade House TV. And on today's episode, I'm going to answer some viewer questions. So stay tuned. Well, all right, thank you for tuning in. Today, I'd like to answer a few questions that were sent in to me by members of my newsletter. If you're not already signed up for that, come on over to handmadehouses.com and sign in. It's a free newsletter. But anyway, let's get started with the questions for today that I'd like to answer. Let's see, we'll start out with Dear Noah. It's been great to see your newsletters again. I'd love to have an update on your lake house project and your future building plans. Thanks, Martin. Martin, the lake house was paused. I've got my driveway in, I got my well in, got the foundation in, obviously blueprints and building permit in place. And I was ready to start building, and then lumber prices went through the roof, COVID attacked, interest rates went up, a variety of personal things came up as well, potential offers and whatever else. And so things were kind of like got put on a shelf, but nonetheless, they're ready to go and ready to gear back up. And I hope to get back on my lake house probably this fall, maybe come spring. I don't know. The months seem to go by pretty quick these days. So that's the latest on that. Why didn't you go with any timber frame elements in your lake house? I did not go with timber framing nor log construction in the design of the lake house. That was the original concept of it. But once I started viewing other houses that were going up in this particular area, there wasn't any. I was afraid it would stand out like a sore thumb, like it didn't belong. And also I really wanted to create a feeling of a lake house that much like I had experienced in my childhood, where there are lots of porches and screen doors, and the space is light and airy. And I felt that that stick-built construction was what I needed for that. I've added a lot of really nice classic features to it, from standing seam metal on the roof to, as I said, wraparound porches, and really nice siding and interior details as well. Look forward to sharing more of that with you when the construction begins. Next part of the question is, how is your health? My health is just fine, thank you. I wish I could say the same for so many of mine friends and family members that are my age, but that's the way it is when you start getting older. I'm now the grand old age of 68, and I can say that I feel the age more than I would have imagined early on. Let's see. I didn't know you were a homesteader. Do tell. Well, I'm not a 100% purist homesteader. There are very few that actually are. But I did, in my early years, was what I call a homesteader, and that is I bought a rural piece of land. My wife and I moved onto it, lived in a tent while we built a house out of salvage materials. All of our water came from the spring nearby, as well as that served as a source of refrigeration for our food. We cooked over an open fire. We cleared our garden using a team of horses, planted a garden, raised chickens, heated with firewood, all the above for several years until children started popping into our life. And it just proved too hard, the purest form of homesteading. I'm still a firm believer in it. We still off and on again take care of chickens. We always have a garden. I believe in self-reliance. I like to get in the rural countryside. I find that getting out in nature is extremely beneficial to humans. We tend to be locked up inside of our homes watching all of our screens. And so I do love the rural community, and I would love to be much more self-sufficient than I am as far as raising my own food and my own energy sources as well. Let's see. I could think of a million more, but being a member of the Guild, so I have a lot of material to consume and many more questions to answer. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. Let's see. Next question. Just asking if you've ever written a book. Mark. Mark, I have written a book, and I got it more or less complete, sent it to someone that proofreaded it and edited it, and got it to that stage, and then it was time for illustrations. and it seemed like the whole process bogged down, and I got a little discouraged with it. It wasn't exactly the ideal book that I wanted to create, and so it more or less got put on the shelf, and I've attempted to revisit a few times lately, and it just doesn't seem to work out. One thing that I have been doing is that thanks to the use of AI, I've been feeding all that book, all of my blog posts, all of my course content, and everything else that I've written or spoken through video. And I've fed it all of this. I've created transcripts of all of it. And supposedly there's enough material there to write 10 books. So right now AI is busy processing it all, trying to tie it all together, all the different angles and all the different orders and different mediums that I used in order to perhaps me create a book in the future. And so I'm actually looking forward to that, even though everybody tells me nowadays not to write a book, that no one's reading them anymore. But anyway, I think that one good book is a good thing to have. Okay, so the next question is, Hi Noah, I would love to know how to scribe fit a timber frame. It's a great question, and I hope to include it at some point in the timber framing course that I'm creating. The timber framing course did encounter a roadblock that it has not moved forward. It's about 50% complete, and I hope to get on the rest of it. I've actually filmed 3 more episodes of it, but I have yet to edit it. The scribe fitting, it's a little bit vague here, how to scribe fit a timber frame, and that is that some people will associate that meaning scribe fit as such as in, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but like this board here is scribe fitted to the frame. This paneled wall is scribe fitted to the log cabin. In other words, it follows the contours of it. And I have scribe fit timbers in such a manner as well. And that's basically what there's a scribe fit method to building timber frames. And basically that is taking a regular timbers, a regular size, a regular twist, now maybe not as straight as you want, maybe dimensionally different from beam to beam, and how to get them all together so that they actually fit smoother together. It's more intuitive to me than it is instructional. But there is a specific technique, and you can get on YouTube, and there's plenty of people that will demonstrate that particular technique to you. But for the most part in my career, I've either worked with vintage timber frames that I've taken down and re-erected, or I'll buy brand new, perfectly dimensional timber framing right from the sawmill, and I'll quickly assemble it together just using basic standard timber framing techniques. And I don't need to do any scribe fitting. So scribe fitting is not something I do a whole lot of in my particular career. Let's see. Next question is, followed you for a long while, and I did the cabin course. That would be the Log Cabin Academy. You can find out about it over handmadehouse.com. Delighted you are returning. I would love to participate in some hands-on classes. You know, I'd love to do that as well, create some classes for log cabin construction. To me, it would seem to be very enjoyable. There's a lot of complexity to it. It's a major time-consuming effort. There are insurance risks galore in it, and it's very hard for a person to teach and demonstrate at the same time, especially for a class much more than 3 or 4 people. But anyway, I'm going to think about that. I'm going to see whether or not I can do something about that. So the next one is, good day, sir. It's good to hear from you. I have a portable sawmill coming in a few weeks. My question is, do we saw the bottom log, the first log, flat on the bottom? Larry. And that's a great question. We cover that in the Log Cabin Academy course. Basically, absolutely yes. You want to, if you think of it and you have it done, you definitely want to flatten the bottom 2 courses, the bottom 2 logs of the first course, whether or not that's front and back or left and right. depending upon where you start, but there's always two that are considered the bottom logs, and we always want to flatten those so that they will stay on the foundation or the floor system, depending upon what you're resting it on, so they don't roll off. And sometimes when I'm sawing my own logs with a sawmill, I'll go ahead and do that if I'm thoughtful and I remember it. You don't want to do the fourth side. You want to leave it with a natural contour. But even if we were to forget in that particular stage, we would still end up snapping a chalk line on it and cutting off the bottom using either an axe and an adze or a chainsaw. So yeah, you want to do that. That's good thinking. Do that. Okay, next question. Hello, Noah. I'm in the process of purchasing a piece of land and going to build something. I guess I have 3 questions related. Could you tell me how long the logs have to be aged to build a log home? I'm in Nova Scotia and I'm going to be building with pine. Typically, almost at least 90% of vintage log cabins were built using brand new fresh logs. Literally, they would cut them down almost next to the house. As soon as they'd have them hewed, they'd lift them up and put them in place on the house. Building with green logs is standard operating procedure. One of the things it does is it tends to lock logs together, allowing them to dry as they are in position on the home, rather than laying out in the yard and allowed to curl up or twist or whatever else. So there's a lot of advantages to getting them up while they are green and fresh. Number 2 on his list, how does the Portland cement hold up between logs in relation to movement, leaking air, and water? Never had a problem. It seems like logically you should, that logs are seasoning, they're shrinking, it should be a problem. I've chinked brand new log cabins like this, expecting to be back a year later and redo it. And lo and behold, for whatever reason, it seems like the chink gaps don't shrink when a log cabin shrinks. That the logs shrink, but the gaps don't. It's kind of weird, and I can't guarantee that'll be your case, but typically if I'm building with fresh green logs, I'll do my best. I'll always save the chinking of the cabin to be the last thing I do, allowing the logs plenty of time to dry as much as possible. Number 3, is there a huge problem with building codes? Of course, they're different everywhere, but generally, you bet. There's definitely a problem. Number 1 problem many of us have in building a log cabin these days is not finding material, it's not finding labor, it's not finding the right land to build it on. It's dealing with government bureaucracy and building codes. And building codes try to push us toward minimal standard construction and also standardized. More and more, they're trying to make every house look like a vinyl box. More and more, it's a battle every day. I do have a little mini course on things that I recommend that people consider before they get involved with getting a building permit for a house. It's for a log cabin. It's the cheapest course I have over at handmadehouses.com. It's so many people get discouraged too fast about it, but I have never, ever in this life been denied the right to be able to build a log cabin. It's just a matter of persistence, kindness, taking whatever step you need to get to it, but there's always a way to get a permit to build a log cabin. At least that's been my track record so far. Okay, so next question regarding log cabins is how to attach one wall to another and not in the corner, such as what we've got going on here. And I'm probably going to cover that in another video because that is the number 1 question I got. I think 5 or 6 people asked that same question, and so I'm going to try to devote a little bit more time to that particular topic. And maybe this is a good place to stop. I got a ton of questions. I thank you so much for questions. They help create the video, and some people get back and say that they're the favorite videos that I created. Because often they're the topics of things that I don't think of saying, or perhaps to get buzzed through. By the way, in all of this stuff that I did here recently, it tended to be that I've created so many videos that people can't find the information they want. And so my goal is, in my coming back here slowly, is to perhaps create a more organized flow of all the information, of giving you guys here on YouTube a light version of it, much more than you can find anywhere else, and also for the guys that are in my paid guild program, that they'll get the fine little details or demonstrations of everything. So anyway, thank you again for joining in. Look forward to seeing you next week, where I've got more questions. We'll see you then. Bye now.